This is the Night Owls Disc Golf Podcast. I'm Shane.
And I'm JP.
All right, so we're back at it after almost 3 weeks, right? Is what this will be.
I think our last episode came out December 4th.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And that is an abnormally long time for us to not have an episode.
Yes, very long.
Because what's the longest week? Just 1 week, right?
A week. Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty
Wow.
sure.
Well, so sorry about that, folks. Life happens. Shane goes to Texas, and JP has Christmas parties, and
Ben's got work.
Ben's got work. So I wanted to get one more in because I'm assuming we're not going to have one next week because Christmas Eve.
Right.
And then the following one is
New Year's Eve. Unless we do something in between there.
Yeah, we might be able to do something in between there. Yeah. So, nope, because I am not in town. We might be able to do it remotely, or if you and Ben wanted to tackle one.
Yeah, maybe.
So,
who knows?
yeah. So look for one possibly. So, but in the meantime, door_disc_golf, night_owl_pod, and then doordisc.com, where you can buy all your disc golf needs. And we do have those Advent sales still going on. The last week, which actually starts, if I remember rightly, the day of Christmas, we will have kind of a choose your own. So we've been choosing discs that you purchase, and then you get the next discs for 70% off. Starting Christmas Day, it's going to be our entire shop.
Wow.
Choose a disc. I don't care what disc. Equal or lesser value, 70% off.
Whoa. So
there you go. There will be some exclusions still, some of the specials, some of the high value ones, I guess, or the high dollar ones that we have to pay for. But there won't be many that'll be off limits. So it'll still be the same ones that were.
Cool.
So with that, go on doordisc.com and you can find those. So late Christmas gift, if you didn't get the stuff you wanted, you can rebel by buying it from doordisc.com.
Rebel.
It'd be like, fine, if you're not going to buy it for me, I'll buy it for myself.
Yeah.
All right. So what is the most powerful thing you've ever done in your life, JP?
Oh, wow. Most powerful thing. Gosh, that's tough.
It is. It's not for me. We just talked about mine.
Yeah.
But it would have been before that. Yeah.
I am having what's powerful in my life? I'm drawing a blank. Like, it's so hard for me to think of, like, something that I've done that's like, okay.
Well, what about something that's happened in your life?
Well, definitely, like, first child.
Yeah, sure.
That's super powerful, like, life-changing moment.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's like one of the more powerful things that's definitely impacted me. I guess I just can't think of anything. Like, I guess I'm going to say, just raising a kid that you're like respectful and like hopefully like turns out pretty good. Like knowing that you have that power to mold and like hopefully steer them in the right direction. That's pretty powerful, I would say.
I would say so too. I think that's
I can't think of like coaching. I mean, like, that's a different role because like you're in charge of so many young individuals or whatever that
you hope you can get through to one of them.
yeah, pretty much.
Yep. So Mr. Eckert turned around at our children's concert and looked into the crowd. Do you know why he did that? Did you hear?
I kind of did.
that someone burped in the crowd.
Oh, yeah.
So we talk about like the most powerful moments in life. And I would say, aside from my kids and obviously my wife, but obviously marrying my wife was one of the most powerful things that happened to me. But when you talk about your kids, like, it's just on another level. too, because you've made this choice to marry this woman, right?
Yeah.
And you hope everything goes well. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden you have this little being that grows inside of her.
Yeah.
And I'm experiencing that again right now. And it's this like transformative thing. Like, you know that you're in for a real long ride, you know, because being a dad never ends.
Yeah.
And you know you're in for some real up and downs, like, for sure. Especially going with your child. You know, I mean, some people are lucky and have it easy, but I don't know of anybody that does. You know, like my daughter was pretty easy, but there's these emotions that have happened in the past that are, you know, they're just things you got to get over and you got to figure out, and you got to build coping mechanisms and help them, you know, through that type of stuff. And then, you know, you have little boys, and there's really nothing society that's built for little boys, you know, especially school. School's just not built for boys, you know, especially hyperactive young men like I have.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're just not built, you know, for to sit a child in a chair for 8 hours a day. Like, man, that's difficult for them, you know, but they got to learn, you know, they have to learn. So you got to work with them through that. So, you know, that's my season of life right now with him. So I had just explained to JP, and I'm going to spare the details on the podcast, but I just did something 2 weekends ago, I think is what it was. That was probably one of the most powerful things that ever happened in my life. To me, for me, not like excluding my kids, excluding my wife. And it was called Rise Up Kings. It's a 3-day, like, really intense thing.
Yeah.
But it's specifically designed for men. And it was nuts, but awesome. JP got some inside information, probably about an hour and a half worth of the 30 or 3 days worth of stuff. And it's pretty intense, but really transformative, really good. So look it up, see if you guys like it. With that, there is stuff out there, but you will never find anything about the days and the stuff that happens in the days.
Okay.
I came back and I was like, I wonder if it's like on, you know, somewhere on the webs.
Yeah.
I can't find it anywhere.
Huh.
Like the activities that happen, like the course of the events and stuff. Like, you'll get little snippets, like you'll hear sand cookie, you'll hear, you know, the mud pit, you'll hear stuff like that, but like actually what happens. So yeah, it was pretty cool. So, and I'm bringing it back because I did get to, so there's our pod that everybody that I went through this with, about 30 people or 35, somewhere around there. Anyways, 30-ish people. And I got to expose 35 businessmen to disc golf.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So we might actually, some of them might actually be listening because I was like, yeah, you guys know about podcasts? He goes, well, now I do. Or about disc golf. And he's like, well, now I do. And I'm going to listen. So
cool.
If you're out there listening, thanks for listening. With all that being said, let me give you a quick preview of what we are going to go over. We'll do throw in here flipper because I got something sitting here. That's pretty cool. Go a quick preview. So we're going to talk about some of the moves, and we're not just going to talk about players this time. So we do have Josh Hofstra. Howdy Hofstra is back in it, being talked with. And I know that JP had communicated a little bit with him. We'll let you in on what we can let you in on. Outside of that, we'll talk some more speculation of how much of a genius I am, that it seems like it's probably going to happen. We'll talk about Nico. We'll talk about Clemonade. And then some of the exodus that's happening from House of Disc, and maybe not forced, maybe. And then the majors were aligned for 2025. So all of the majors have been announced.
Oh, and All-Star Weekend has been moved.
Yes. So All-Star Weekend has been moved. Should we just say that real quick? And
yeah.
So All-Star Weekend has been moved, and it is now going to be at the McBeth property.
Yes.
It is Goat Hill.
Huh?
What's it called?
It's called Olympus now.
Olympus. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
It was Grand Canyon. The name has been changed to Olympus. So now it was originally going to be in Orlando. DGPT didn't really put any details as far as why it was being moved, or I didn't see anything. There's a Reddit post where some people were kind of speculating that there might have been some conflict with the weekend of, like, as far as where the course or what course was being used, and like something came up maybe, or whatever. Yeah. But now back-to-back weekends are going to be All-Star Weekend and then the chess.com Invitational at Olympus. That's the first pro
That's
tour.
what it's called now, is chess.com.
Yes. So
And disc golf is making it big.
that was a big McBeth announcement that chess.com was going to be the presenting sponsor of the McBeth property, the first pro tour event.
Wow. So 2016, we saw Adidas burst onto the scene, right? And sponsoring disc golf, like courses were named after them, like at LVC, at Las Vegas Challenge, well, Gentlemen's Club Classic at the time. And then Keen steps in a little bit,
Yeah.
then kind of disappears for a couple years. And then all of a sudden we see Johnsonville
Yeah.
pop up as a headline sponsor. And then Barbasol. And now chess.com.
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 And then I saw something too today that on Reddit also, or maybe it was just Instagram, that for Ledgestone, apparently, perhaps Merrell footwear,
Okay.
they're going to be part of the players pack.
Really?
Yes. Like you might get a pair of Merrell shoes
That's fantastic.
or boots in your players pack for Ledgestone. Possibly. That's what I saw. Yeah.
Why? How can anyone be disappointed with what Nate Heinold does?
Well,
But, okay, how can anyone be disappointed with Nate Heinold's player packs?
oh no, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I'm
Yeah.
sure lots of people were depressed when Nate Heinold's like, "Yeah, we've made the decision that we're gonna run all these events the same time as
Yes.
these other events."
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that,
Yeah. Well,
sure.
he's interim president, though. So
are you
is
really
he going to back
interim
away?
president if it's over a year?
Isn't it over that now?
I think it might be. I don't know exactly when.
Because interim presidents usually fill in until the new presidents are decided, right?
Right. I know PDGA elections were happening.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so it's possible.
And wasn't it oh my goodness, why can't I think of his name? Prodigy.
Shoestrick?
Shoestrick. Well, Shoestrick couldn't hold a seat on the board because there was conflict of interest, right?
Yes.
How is Nate Heinold not in that same situation with owning?
Because he is not actually part of a manufacturer.
Okay. Even though he's
like
exclusively through Discraft,
Yeah, yeah.
and he has like very exclusive rights.
Right. I mean, they have their own drops. They have their own stuff going on. Yeah, I know. That's interesting.
That'd be like saying Hooligan. Well, Hooligan isn't part of LSD anymore, but it's like saying Hooligan wasn't a disc golf manufacturer.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Very similar.
Yeah. I mean, they're a distributor. Ledgestone's a distributor of.
For sure.
Yeah. So.
For sure.
That's so interesting.
Because he has his own team. He has his own line of discs. Questions, huh? Questions, yeah. See, we're good here. I'm breaking the news down here. So, for more hard hitting, very well researched facts. All right. So, well, let's get into it. Throw in here, Flipper. What'd you buy? Did you buy anything? Or has it been quiet for you?
It has been quiet just because of Christmas and buying expensive gifts for other people. I have not bought anything disc golf related. I forgot what the last thing.
Was it the stuff you bought from the shop?
Probably.
Okay.
I don't think I bought anything from anywhere else. Yeah, so the last stuff I bought was like the time lapse and the Clash discs.
And Wild Honey, the double steady.
Yeah, double steady Wild Honey. I think that was it.
Okay.
I haven't seen it. I thought about getting a Discmania mystery box because I was like, ooh, P3X is kind of enticing, but I held off because I was like, nah, whatever.
The Supreme mystery box almost got me.
Okay.
The Supreme box, I think that's what they called it. The Supreme box almost got me. But it did not, because I did spend some money on the Clash box.
Yeah.
So I like Clash discs. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I am more excited about this box than I am about the stuff that's inside of it.
The packaging's cool.
It's awesome. So for those of you that haven't seen the Clash box, I think they call it the anniversary box. Is that right? 2-year anniversary box.
I think so. The one that came out that Ben got last year was definitely called the anniversary box.
So I'm not sure what this box is named. You can hear me moving it. So it is wood. So it's like maybe 1/8-inch plywood, but it is made. It looks like on a CNC of sorts. And
It's birch, I think.
Is it birch?
I think that's what I heard.
Yeah,
It's birch.
and it does. It looks like a birch plywood, like you would build cabinets out of or something like that. But it's 1/8-inch, and it is laser cut, so like CNC laser cut, and it has clash discs on it. But it has like this beautiful little latching mechanism and lid. So the box itself is phenomenal, and it's all one piece. And it's all perforated so you can open it, and it's beautiful. So look it up if you see it. But it does come with, I mean, was there 6, 7
I think
discs?
6.
6 or 7.
Count them up.
So there is a Clash Discs Double Steady Cinnamon.
Or you could get a double steady mint. I think.
Yeah.
And then someone said something about maybe a cookie made its way into a couple boxes.
Wow.
But I don't know if
That'd
that
be
was
pretty neat.
actually true or not.
Okay. Yeah. So the Double Steady,
Which
cinnamon.
looks different. It's different than the double steady wild honey.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
each one of the molds is a little bit different from
Yep.
the Double Steady. And it is hit or miss how nice they are. Everyone that I've seen and everyone we've had in the shop have been nice. But I've seen some pictures out there that aren't great.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. They're trying something new, and that's what happens when you try
Yeah.
to kind of step outside the box. But beautiful disc. And then the long anticipated that was seen by Foundation had one like last year, but the cherries are finally out, and also the guava in here. And it is the, what do they call it? What's this plastic called again?
Well, I thought it was Sunny plastic, but I don't know if it's actually Sunny plastic. I'm not sure.
It's the same. It's the steady plastic, but it has metal flake in it, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It's a little softer.
Okay.
From the way that I can feel it. But
Yeah.
both prototypes, so I got a guava and a cherry. Beautiful discs, like beautiful. And they feel fantastic. The cherry feels fantastic. I don't know if this is, from the feel of it, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a very overstable. It looks like it's just going to be a nice straight flyer. Mm-hmm. It's like a blunt nose, kind of reminiscent of maybe like a Buzz. No, it's not a Buzz. That's more putter, I would say.
Interesting.
What do you think? I feel like that's a putter, like a fast putter.
Yeah. God, like almost like a. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how understable it's going to be. Is it supposed to be a 5502 or something
I
like that?
think that's what it's supposed to be, but maybe it just sure doesn't feel that way.
It seems
does
more
it?
rounded. Like, I wanted to say like a Tersus, but I don't think that's even. Or Warship?
Maybe a Warship. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe a Warship. So, and then the guava is also a mid, and I believe this is supposed to be a fairly stable mid. No, understable mid, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, fairly understable mid, and that's supposed to be very much like a Tersus or something like
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
So those are 3 discs, and then we got the Sage, and it's a 12.6 Neg 1.3 driver. It's the Destroyer clone, more glide. Doesn't feel quite like a Destroyer. Has more of a convex rim, but really nice disc. Also got a mystery, or just a bar stamp cookie. And the cookie, if you haven't thrown a cookie yet, beautiful disc. Like, it's a fantastic disc. Kind of FD-ish, like S-Line FD
Yes. Yeah.
is what it reminds me of.
Or, I think, yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, like an S-Line FD.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels like an FD as well. A little more smooth, a little more refined. And then
You're talking because like I was thinking like FD, but like the new FD.
the new
like,
FDs.
Yeah.
Yes. And then a like beautiful crystal clear mint. There is a little bit of yellowing in the plastic, but nothing.
Yeah.
Like right in the rim where it's a little thicker, but it's still a beautiful disc. Beautiful disc. So there you go. So 6 discs in the box, and that's what I got. And I don't see any of these being hangers. I'll probably throw every one of them. So once I get back out and start playing, and it's actually pretty nice weather. I should probably get out.
It's been decent.
Yeah, try to play a round or two. So there it is. So without making any more noise, I'll just put that on top. So that's mine. And then I think outside of that, I don't know if there's anything else to talk about for Throw Hanger Flipper. You got anything?
Not that I can think of.
All right. So let's move on. Let's just talk straight on to.
Okay, here's what I was just guys looking up something. Someone says that the cherry is a more understable version of the candy. This is according to Yeet Street Discs.
Okay.
And the candy is a putter. So numbers are 5, 5, neg 2, 1, which is similar to the new detour from
Yeah.
MVP.
So that's what the cherry is.
Yeah.
Okay. And the guava is supposed to be something that's more buzz, like straight
I
flyer,
think so.
neg 1. I'm excited. They both feel great. Mm-hmm. They both feel great, but the cherry doesn't yell mid to me. It honestly feels like it's just a fast putter.
Okay. Yeah.
In the hand, it's a little deeper of a rim, but yeah. So, all right. So let's get into the majors for next year. So they have all been announced. So we'll kind of go one by one and just point them out. So U.S. Masters is in New Mexico this year. U.S.
2025.
2025. Excuse me. Yeah. These are all for 25. So when I say that, ignore the years that I say. It is.
Don't know exact dates, but year 2025.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So we know locations, and as long as nothing happens catastrophically, this is where they'll be. U.S. Women's in 2025 will be in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. So only about an hour and a half from us. Mm-hmm. So that's great. European Worlds will be in Europe next year, and it's in Nokia in Finland, correct?
Yep.
So, and then Masters Worlds will be in the Twin Cities, and we don't know the course yet, but we're kind of expecting BRP, so Blue Rim Pines.
Possibly Preserve, something along those lines.
Yep, or maybe a mixture of all.
Yeah.
And then Junior Worlds back in Emporia. So is this like the 14th year it's been in Emporia? Or
Seems that way. Feels like it.
But, in my humble opinion, keep it there.
Yeah.
Emporia does disc golf very well.
I think they have a lot of courses there that would suit juniors very well.
Yes, I agree 100%. And they make that experience for those juniors second to none. I don't know if there's anybody else that can make a better experience for them. So I say go for it, man. Like, that's awesome. Other than maybe Nate Heinold's player packs. But no, man, DD does some really good stuff with player packs too. So
decent.
Yeah. So, keep it there. Why not? But it does seem like it's been like 15 years since the last time it wasn't there. But I think they got the bid before COVID, and it's been there since, hasn't it? Just by default.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think the big one there is Worlds being outside of the U.S. Mm-hmm. It's been in Canada before.
Yes.
But traveling to Europe is a big deal. Like, that actually means Worlds. Like, exactly. That's what it.
Well, let's have a conversation about that. Yeah. So, what do you think that's going to do to Worlds? So, Worlds has always been the best disc golfers in the world, right?
Right.
Do you think that's going to hold the same? You think that truth is going to still be there once it moves over to Europe? Because the best disc golfers, other than Kristen Tatar, are from the U.S.
Right.
And a vast majority of the top 50 are from the U.S.
So I would say be on the lookout for who is going to Europe this year, right? Like, I know last year, this past season, Drew Gibson didn't go, I don't believe. Gannon Burr didn't go. There was a number of people that didn't go over there. Obviously, we saw, Eagle win, there's those people. And that's like, I'm guessing this is going to have to take place around those European events, that same time. And it's going to be a big deal if people can't get over there. Like, travel restrictions, whatever, things come up.
Yeah.
But we might also see more European players entering Worlds that we haven't seen before that could kind of be like dark horses.
Agreed.
Coming into that scene that, they could make a name for themselves during that tournament.
Right. And you got 2 years. And the way the players develop so quickly, especially a lot of these young players, man, like the people that we think would be contenders may not even be in the picture anymore.
True.
Think about and this is no shade at Paul McBeth. This is no shade at any of these top players, it just happens. You hit your sunset at one point. You start to fade. And who knows? Ricky may not even be in the picture. Like Tatar may not even be in the picture with some of her. I doubt that, but no. But maybe that's the year Eagle wins. Because Eagle kind of historically plays well there when he's healthy.
Yeah.
Overseas anyways, like Australian Open he won.
Yeah.
And then, so you think about a lot of and I think he's won in Nokia a couple times, if I remember
I think
rightly.
so.
So, but I don't know, all not speculation, educated guessing.
Yeah,
by
right.
that. So,
right.
So I'm excited. I hope most people go. I hope it ends up being something where people participate, the top players participate, and we're not leaving anybody behind in the U.S.
Yeah.
Because I don't want it to have that asterisk next to it,
Yeah, exactly.
So
it would be cool now that it's moving to Europe. Obviously, we have a couple of, we have like Manabu and Jackie Chen. I don't, I've never been to China, Japan, wherever. I have no idea what those courses are like. Same thing with Australia. But like the possibilities now that it's moving are endless. And if you really want to truly grow the sport, you need to move it to other countries or continents. With McBeth Foundation putting in courses, granted these courses that he's building, I'm guessing, not championship level courses by any means, but there's possibilities that something could be built and you truly do move it around to make it worlds.
Agreed. Yeah. And, I don't think it's anything so much. So I had a conversation with Dustin Leatherman, who is kind of the head of the Paul McBeth Foundation. I had a conversation with him fairly recently, and he stated that because I had the very purposeful question about, like, how's it going?
Okay.
Like what's actually coming on the back end of putting these courses in. It's great you're putting these courses in, and I support it fully. But what's coming on the back end of it? And I'm not questioning him. I'm just explaining my, this was a very casual conversation. And he just said, on the back end, what they're seeing is not only just the growth of disc golf, but also the entrepreneurship behind disc golf, like people actually building and selling baskets.
Okay.
Bringing discs over and selling discs and running tournaments. So you're seeing these things where these guys are getting involved and being like, I didn't have a revenue source before this. Now I have a revenue source. Oh. And it's a beautiful thing. Cool. It's fantastic. But you see all, like in Mexico, the first one they put in, the beautiful growth in Mexico that's happening. Like they've since put another 9 in, and now they're holding tournaments, and they're actually charging people to go, so that chair or that nonprofit that's controlling it, that church that's actually has it on their land, that's a revenue source for them now, so that now they can affect the community better.
Oh, that's cool.
I think that's beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
It's beautiful stuff. So I agree with you. Like when you start seeing these things move around, it's just exposure. It's new things that people see, and they're like, man, I never even thought about that, never even heard about it, but it looks like a really exciting sport. Let's do it, And that's how you ran into it. That's how I ran into it. That's how everybody ran into it. You're out with a buddy one day, and they're like, let's go play disc golf. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
Disc golf, throwing frisbees and stuff. And you're like, well, let's go try it. And 20 years later, we're talking about it on a podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, that's awesome. I'm excited to see it go to Europe. I'm, the discerner in me is looking at all the little holes that could happen and some of the bad things that could come out of it. But I think the good things well outweigh, the bad things of going over to Europe. So it shows that it's possible and easier than you think to get it overseas.
Well, it is, especially when we have a whole other European tour that's being part of the DGPT now. So
Exactly.
It only makes sense.
Yep. It's kind of like an about time thing,
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been talking about it for 6 years at least now. I mean, I'm sure they've been talking about it for longer than that, but really talking about it for about 6 years. And finally they pulled the trigger. So that's great.
You know what's going to happen? Nate Heinold's going to be this TD.
Somehow he's going to end up over there and be like, I got it, guys. Don't worry.
Don't worry about it. I've been meaning to get over there. I'll just do it.
Why not? Why not? All of a sudden, Discraft is the main sponsor of it. All right. So I wouldn't be disappointed if that was the case. I would assume that maybe UC might be involved in it
I could see that.
in some way, shape, or form.
Sure. He's been quiet.
Yes, man. And I'm going to be quiet about saying a really inappropriate comment. So, all right. Well, yeah. Anyways, I'll leave it there. Speaking of UC, I wonder how much he has involvement with the players on his team now that House of Discs takes over.
Yeah.
Because the prophetic nature of my statement about a month and a half ago is astounding. So for those of you who don't know, about a month and a half ago, and I wish we were more tech savvy because we would insert clip here where you guys laughed at me and said there was zero chance.
I'm sure we could probably do that. Might take a little bit. I forgot what episode it was.
I don't remember what episode it was either. I mean, but yeah, if you want to take that on, go for it, because I would love that to be popped in right here.
Yeah.
Okay. Here, should I give you a spike? So I stated that Eagle will be going to MVP to reunite the Crush Boys.
Yeah.
And rumors are starting to look very true that is actually going to happen. Confirmed through a source on X, formerly known as Twitter, that Brody Smith has said looks like that's what's probably going to happen, going to MVP, because he is almost certainly gone from Discmania for sure.
Okay, so Eagle, when the red mystery boxes came out, he did a live stream of them, like doing the whole like announcement of the mystery boxes.
Yep.
And I think he had an opening of one. Mm-hmm. Not positive. Like I do remember seeing like an Instagram kind of.
I dropped in and out of it.
Yeah. But since then, he's like kind of Grip has done a giveaway for his
bags.
bag, and then like people are like sharing, like, hey, I got this Eagle disc or whatever, and he'll share stuff, but he's not going out of his way right now to promote anything Discmania, really, from what in like the last couple of weeks, from what I've seen. And then
Discmania on their wholesale site and their Discmania dealer site have been fire selling.
Yeah. And
Eagle stuff.
Well, and the crazy thing, so it was like announced like the other day too, they opened the vault, and the vault was prototype Cloudbreaker, first run Cloudbreaker, Iron Samurai 3s, like a bunch of Eagle signature discs.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay,
Yeah.
sure.
And if anyone wants Iron Samurai 3s, we got plenty of them in the shop.
I was really surprised to see those actually.
Yeah.
I was like, Iron Samurai 3s, those have been out for a while. Like they're still in this is the vault. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like they're readily available.
Step up your game.
Yeah.
But think about it. Their vault only goes back 8 months, since they started molding. So,
Well, but I was surprised to see prototype Cloudbreaker in there in the first run. But prototype Cloudbreaker was $90.
really?
Yeah.
Holy moly.
And maybe it'd still be worth that. I don't know what they.
That collector market at the bottom literally fell out.
So this is like the MVP talk. So I think it was Hunter Thomas that said it would make sense that since James has MVP, Simon is he's MVP, but he's Axiom. That Eagle Streamline to help that. I do too. I don't know how much Eagle would buy into the actual gyro, but to have just the streamline like Cloudbreaker or whatever that is, the streamline time lapse, which is in it's going to be in production or like release, perhaps around the time that it would be announced that he's maybe things could line up that way.
Yeah. But these dots aren't that far apart to connect.
No,
I mean,
especially the leaving thing.
Right. Yeah,
that seems almost given. Where he's going, yes, MVP does make like the top of the list. From what we've seen with some of these other people leaving, Probably not House of Discs related
No.
at all.
Although, with House of Discs kind of cleaning out the closet, they are opening up some cap room.
Right, they are.
So, and not there's
no.
caps, but
Right. Another
speech.
thing that people have been speculating, because Eagle likes the Innova plastic, is him signing with Innova.
Man, that would be huge for Innova.
It would be huge for Innova.
Yeah, that would be huge for Innova. And knowing the legacy molds that Eagle was so familiar with, they own all of them.
Right.
So there you go. There's Eagle's line of discs right there.
Yeah.
God, would that be a kick in the nuts? It's a disc mania.
It really would. That'd be...
I like that idea so much better.
You like
just for the newsworthy factor of it, just for the drama factor of it.
Yeah.
No other reason but that. Sorry, I thought I heard my boy.
Oh, okay.
Just for the drama factor of it, of him coming into Innova and then taking over all the legacy molds for
right.
Discmania.
Like seeing him throw like the Dark Rubble or the Elixir, like, those molds that, after they split, we're like, hey, we're releasing all these.
Yeah, like the fairway driver and the control driver, which they let 4 or 5 of them out.
Right.
And to see him back in hands with a PD2, like a real PD2, like.
Well, here's the other thing. So when they announced the vault with all the Eagle discs, and they're like, Eagle is working on designing the newest cloud breaker. Like, that was part of the news with this like vault thing. Mm-hmm. So
he sure is with MVP Innova.
But it's going to be that situation like Simon, like the Doombird 4 came out and he's like, well, this is the last thing I'm promoting. I have a feeling that this is going to be the last thing that he'll promote, is like this new cloud breaker. Who knows when it's going to come out, but I don't know.
I mean, there is a potential that they are... The House of Disc cap is being opened, so their budget is being cleared by not renewing contracts.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe they're going to offer him a big contract.
Maybe. Who knows? But you'd think like this venture capitalist company that comes in wants to shove a bunch of money into the company, that it would free up more money for contracts and things. Unless like production's being kind of weird. But it seems now that House of Discs is looking to kind of consolidate plastics as well. Like a lot of their plastics, because even with the newer boxes, it's like, okay, we're getting that C-line tactic that, was teased so long ago. And it's like, the C-line plastic is the same as this. Was it the ice plastic for Latitude and DD? And so you can kind of see like maybe they're trying to get people used to consolidating the plastics of like, so who knows what's going to happen there?
And it's just branding at that point.
Yeah, right.
What you're probably going to see is...
Well, it's like the Grand plastic is like the special S-line plastic for, certain brands and yada, yada. And you kind of see it already.
Oh, yeah. And I like the change of the plastics. I think the plastics are better than they... Well, when we talk Trilogy brand.
Yeah.
Out of the trilogies, I like the newest plastic best.
Yeah.
I would say I preferred the Innova molds and plastics better than I liked the new stuff, because I think all the new stuff from Discmania is all much more stable. Like, it's not true to what they used to be.
Right, like the FD. Yeah.
The FD is not that workable fairway that it used to be.
Yeah.
Now everybody's like, oh, great, an FD. No, like, you're buying a felon.
Yeah. Was that like a whistle?
I think it was. Yeah, my mom's down there with him, so.
Okay.
I told him he could come and get it because it was an emergency.
Okay.
So I don't know. Wherever Eagle lands, that's funny.
Yeah.
Wherever Eagle lands, it is going to be amazingly beneficial for that company.
Not on the level of Simon leaving, though.
Not on the level of Simon, not on the level of Paul.
No, but big.
Definitely not on the level of Kona. But I should stop picking on her. Well, it's not on the level of Kona. It's going to be much more effective than what Kona did. So, yeah, I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see it because I think it will be transforming for the company. But I think the most impact he's going to have is actually going to MVP.
Sure.
I really think so. I think if he could take over that streamline, like you said, I think that's a brilliant idea. How awesome would that be?
Yeah, kind of.
Like, how awesome would that be?
Like Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. They're back together, like especially with Conrad. That's funny.
yeah.
So, all right. So let's talk about Nico real quick, and then we'll kind of go into
Sure.
Audi Hofstra. So Nico buys 130 acres in Texas
Yeah.
to build a championship level disc golf course. It is an old not abandoned, but shut down golf course. Has a kind of portable, not when I say portable, I'm thinking like portable classroom like you used to do back in the day.
Oh, yeah. Like trailer kind of thing.
Trailer pro shop and
Yeah.
like a couple covered porch areas and stuff like that. Very backwoods Texas in my eyes.
Yeah.
And that's not a slight for those folks that live in Texas. I love Texas. Like, I kind of want land in Texas now because like I've been there quite a bit and it's awesome. But with that being said, that doesn't excuse what I said. Like, it still feels very backwoods Texas because for people that are from backwoods Texas, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you've been through backwoods Texas, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, it's all just kind of like run down, grown over, like, and everything's module. Like, there's stuff where you can take the buildings off without damaging the buildings. You know, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Okay, good. So, but I think it's gonna be awesome. But 130 acres, that is a ton of land.
Yeah, that is massive.
Multiple courses. Because you think,
I don't know the size of the preserve, but the preserve has like 3 courses on it.
yeah, I thought it was about 100. It was like 80 something, if I remember rightly.
Wow.
But 130, like, dude could build himself a really nice house, really seclude himself, and still have 3 championship level courses on there.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah,
because like wild. You see him. I don't know if people thought he was leaving because you saw him. He had the Instagram post of him signing the contract, and people was kind of speculating about what's going on. Yeah, and then I think it was Brody Smith tried to get him on Tour Life. And Brody asked him, he's like, what's up with the contract or something? And then Nico said, well, it's not about whatever. Like, he had something by his shoulder, or like on the table with him. He's like, well, it's not about this, whatever it is. And you're like, well, he's got a multi-year deal with Lone Star. He's got the Sacred Discs line with Lone Star. So it's like, well, what are you signing? Like, you got some sweet endorsement deal that, like, I don't know. But I don't know how long it's going to take to turn stuff around with this course, but it's gonna be awesome. Exactly.
Yep. As long as the money's there for it, but with Gateway involved, and because he's gonna be involved.
Oh yeah,
guaranteed.
I would guarantee. Yeah,
I mean, it's his uncle. Like, I don't see how it's not gonna be at least mildly successful.
Right.
So,
but I still think, with that in mind, it's going to take a while to prove that it can be a pro tour stop. So, I mean, he's really going to have to do a lot of work on it but who was it that joke?
Dylan Cease and Paul McBeth, like, didn't take that very long to.
But that was already like a course.
But they changed it.
Oh, yeah. Right. There are changes that are happening. But, like, who was joking around and saying, oh, it's going to be a lot of flex lines?
Yeah, that was me. I said that, It's going to be all overstable flex lines.
Yeah.
But with all that fun talk, I guess we should, after Eagle MVP, so just quick mentions. Chris Clemens is leaving DD. Tristan Tanner's leaving DD. Lat 64. And then Jake Hebenheimer-Schmidt, well, just Hebenheimer, but is leaving Lat 64 as well.
Right.
So
the Clemens one, I think people knew he was leaving because he changed his Instagram handle. So we kind of knew something was up there. And then, he officially announced today that he was leaving, which he is synonymous with DD. Like, worked in the store, I think in Kansas City.
Yep.
Probably their best, well, besides Ricky, probably the next best player, top rated left-handed player in the world. I mean, that's a big loss.
It is. it is.
And he apparently, from what I've heard, his van was spotted at Discraft.
Yep.
I mean, if it's his only mode of transportation, it kind of sucks. You think they would kind of like
Get him a rental car or something.
Yeah, something.
Like, like park here. There will be a black car sitting there for you.
Well, it's almost as good as seeing Dickerson drive the mobile home.
Like exactly. No, I'm not leaving. What are you talking about? Why are you driving the Discraft mobile home?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. But it's crazy because, okay, so getting back to House of Discs. Yeah, Clemente moving. You have Tristan Tanner now. Hebenheimer. What's his name? Carter Aarons left DD. Conor O'Reilly left Lat 64 before. So it seems like there's some kind of lockdown on contracts right now within House of Discs. Maybe they had to give Maddie O more money. Like that's part of it. Or Kristen could be restructuring her contract. That was
sure enough.
That's what I was thinking. Like, sure, they could be lining up a bigger move, but you have the best player in the world. You need to pay her like the best player in the world.
In my humble opinion, I think she might even be the highest valued player in the world too.
Yeah.
In my humble opinion, I think that, Paul set a standard. Simon came right behind it. I think she's worth more than both of those boys.
Well, she's got years left. I don't know how many, but she's selling discs for them.
Yes.
And winning. So that says a lot. She's nominated for Estonian Athlete of the Year. Yeah. She's got Nike deal, in Europe. Like she's got a lot going for her.
Right. So and she's been recognized as like Female Athlete of the Year already. And like, there's so many different things that she's been recognized for that I can't.
Breaking news, Chanimal is leaving Discraft.
Really?
Yes, Matt Yadis just teased that to us.
Oh man!
Wow.
So Chanimal. So Chandler Fry is leaving Discraft.
Yes, after 4 years, he's decided to. This was 45 minutes ago that he posted it on Instagram. But yeah, wow.
So a lot of shakeup right now.
Yes.
Man, we might have to do an episode next week. I think there's gonna be too much stuff happening.
Right.
So
crazy. Yeah.
So I am interested to see what the big move is for DD. The only thing I can think of is Lat 64 does not have that top performing
male.
That could be another place where Eagle lands.
It could be.
It wouldn't be out of the realm. I mean, MVP is a pipe dream, in my humble opinion. I don't think it's a pipe dream. It's a very possible dream at this point.
Oh yeah.
But man, Lat 64, House of Disc, they have to have that type of money, especially after like letting go all these people. So
yeah.
All right.
Gannon's hasn't mentioned anything either.
I know.
So that's kind of.
Are they freeing up for Gannon? Is that what they're doing? 64, Lat 64?
I don't know. But my guess for now is the Kristen restructuring.
Okay.
That's where I'm thinking. It's like it'll come out that.
I like the idea.
Yeah.
And I would love to see her make like an 11 million 10-year deal just to like to the guys, to the boys. Like,
wouldn't that be something?
It would be great. Or do like the $10 million and $1.
Yeah.
For 10 years. All right. So, who'd ever thought we'd be getting paid $1 million a year to play disc golf? Well, not we, but somebody would be.
Right. Somebody.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
So, get back to Nico. So, Howdy Hofstra, Josh Hofstra, who we've had on this. We've had him twice.
Yeah. I almost thought about asking him to come on.
I would have loved to talk to him.
Yeah. I don't know how much he would have.
I don't think he would have
spilled.
Yeah.
But just enough to talk about his side of things. Like he probably could non-disclosure agreements, I'm sure, and all that. But he might have some insight into some things.
Well, no, it sounds like they were pretty big on handshakes, so maybe not. But I don't imagine that Josh would. In my humble opinion, I don't believe that he would probably say anything bad anyways.
No.
I don't think he has that type of character in him. So, but good for him. I think there's probably a lot of different avenues Josh can go. And he has told us that he's worked in other industries, and I would like to see him stay in disc golf. I hope he does, and I hope someone picks him up.
Yeah.
So, and because he is a personality that is very much, he's a magnet.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he was the face of Lone Star. Let's be
Absolutely.
real. Like anything social media related, all that, it was his face. Like you did see occasionally them, having some of their team members on, but for the most part, it was him. And so there's speculation too of Robert Burge possibly leaving because he resigned today. Leah Sinigeni resigned today. Chandler Kramer, same day as Josh, announced he was leaving.
Yeah.
And
That's kind of a big deal because Chandler Kramer was kind of the person that was there from the beginning for him.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like right out of college, like he was picked, he was with them. Played really well at the European Open.
Yeah.
And people are kind of like, oh, who's he?
Who's this green haired guy?
Yeah. And so he kind of burst onto the scene a little bit. And then he was all of a sudden like, yeah, I'm parting ways. And so that's kind of like, it's weird because like your longest tenured person there decides to leave. And you're like, okay. And then earlier in the morning, your sales and like social media and like they decide to leave. You're like, what's kind of going on there?
Yeah. And it's, it could be just that bigger, better things are happening, or it could be something that maybe the growing pains that we have talked about over and over again on this podcast about Lone Star are catching up within the culture as well.
That could be very much so. And Chandler didn't sound like when he made his post, it didn't sound like he knew what the future holds. It didn't sound like he had anything lined up. It was like, where do you want to see me go? So maybe like an open bag situation.
Yeah.
For him. Although, I did try to reach out to him today. I was just like, hey, got any updates about the free agency? See how you're doing. Because he thanked us for sharing his post, a couple weeks ago. And then Josh was like talking, and had some offers and whatnot.
Yeah.
But then also last week, the announcement of Hooligan
Yes.
deciding to stop their partnership with Lone Star is kind of a big deal as well.
Yeah. I am very interested to see if we could reach back out to him and see
Garrett?
if we can get some details
with
Garrett.
Yeah.
Because I think that would be very interesting to me because there's dominoes that are falling and they lead back to something.
Right.
What do they lead back to? Like, and it would be really neat to hear. And if it's something dirty and nasty, like I don't want to share that on here.
No.
But so if it's something cool.
So here's something crazy. It was on X, and then it popped up on Reddit, and someone goes, Lone Star saga continues. And this is shared by Shanked DG. Either corporate decided disc golf wasn't a venture worth and is cutting funding, or there's a scandal behind the scenes and people are distancing themselves. Could be an exciting soft season. And this is in response to Hooligan deciding to part ways. And then Josh came back and said, y'all are wild. If it all boils down to one person making bad business decisions for the company, that's it. So the one thing that we do know is that the Dillards, their sons were the ones that talked them into doing the disc golf side of the business.
Yeah.
Kind of seems like there's a trail that might be going back to one of those sons making.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I agree. Because I did say, God, I want to pull it up because I felt like it was fairly eloquent. I was like, wow, that was sense. Remember, I was like, I don't remember exactly how I said it, but essentially my statement was that the Dillards are pretty prude business people. They've survived for a long time in the oil industry, and that's not by making mistakes.
Right.
And if they see that is a kind of a dead horse, they're going to cut it off. Like,
sure.
If it is a sacred cow that their sons think that can't be killed, they're going to kill it.
Yeah.
Like, guaranteed. Because why hemorrhage that type of money?
Sure. But at the same time, they're still re-signing players. And
that's the thing that
they're still trying to keep those handful of players that on the team. I'm curious the hooligan side of things, if it was for hooligan, if it was not getting the time on the machines, who knows? I'm curious to see, like you said, who they go for manufacturing.
Yep.
That'll be interesting, and how it affects them. Like, are people going to be excited that they are with a new production company? Which I think people would be.
Oh.
But I definitely think that the people that were with Hooligan liked Lone Star's plastic as well.
Right.
So tough to say, but it'll be interesting to see in the future what happens.
And I think it was beautiful that Garrett owned his molds.
Yes.
And that was one of those things we clarified, that that he did own his molds. So that's good.
Yeah,
that's
it
a good
is.
thing.
Because I think I saw like they made Vibes again. Like I think that was one of the discs before that he talked about. They were like, production was like slowing down on them, or they like didn't release.
They
them
weren't going to make him anymore.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think I saw him post the other day that they had some left. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. So maybe that's one of the last things that. And I think Ben said Lone Star was starting to sell Hooligan on their website as well.
I didn't quite understand that. I didn't look into it, but I didn't
either.
quite understand that.
Yeah.
When he said that, but I am excited to see where Hooligan goes. I'm also excited to see where LSD's going, because with Lone Star, I still have a fondness towards LSD.
The discs.
The discs. Lone Star discs.
Shane, what are you saying?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Picked up some bad habits.
Rise of the Kings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I have this fondness towards Lone Star discs, but I'm in that, like, I have this feeling, and it's just purely a feeling after talking with Josh, having a couple good conversations with Josh, and then seeing how things were kind of not meeting the expectation that Josh was putting out there. And I just have this feeling that like Josh said, I believe there's probably a leader in a position that shouldn't be in a position.
Okay.
And they're making some choices that aren't prudent to how disc golf is done. Mm-hmm. It might be some things that have been successful in a roughneck way, but not in disc golf.
Sure.
It's a gentleman's sport.
Yeah.
Would you call disc golf a gentleman's sport?
Oh man, I don't know.
I don't know if I'd classify it as a gentleman's sport.
Yeah.
Huh. That's a good question.
That is a good question.
But yeah.
There are people who I believe probably behave that way, and then there are people that don't. So it's hard to say.
I would agree. And I wouldn't say our roots are based in the gentleman's sport.
No, I would say not.
No, definitely not. I mean, unless gentlemen like are holding a 40 and a blunt. Like.
I challenge ye to a tossing competition of the plastic round flying
There's
thing.
definitely not. I mean, you have to be really high to talk like that. I would assume so. All right. That part of disc golf is dead. That doesn't happen anymore. Yeah, so I guess that's kind of the big news we got. I don't like it wasn't very structured, but
No.
we talked about a lot of stuff.
We did.
We talked about a lot of stuff.
Well, we didn't talk about, but Paul's having, I think it was reported on Upshot or Ultiworld that Paul's having possible stem cell research or stem cell surgery.
What? When you have his type of money, why not?
Yeah.
But on what?
He has a torn labrum.
Oh, is that what it is?
In his shoulder.
Dang.
Yeah. That's what
Wow.
was reported. I believe he went on their podcast, or it was written about that he has a torn labrum and that he's researching stem cell injections.
So I have heard that stem cell therapy is last year I was getting all the pre-op to do my shoulder.
Yeah.
I decided not to. I just wanted to strengthen it and money, downtime. We've had this conversation on the podcast, I think. So with that being said, I had looked up and kind of gone down the rabbit hole of stem cell surgery, like doing that whole thing. And it's like this beautiful thing that the probability of good outcome as long as you follow the procedures to a T is like in the 90 percentile of success. Whereas the surgery that I was going to get was like in the 60 percentile, 50 to 60 percentile, that it will actually be effective in the long run.
Right.
And it's amazing. But man, like once you get these injections and stuff, you can't even move your shoulder for like 6 months. Like you're not even supposed to move it for like this incredible amount of time.
Huh.
And it's nuts. Like, and I can't even remember exactly what the dates are and stuff, like
Okay.
how long it is, but
Because
good for him.
the crazy thing is that if he got this injections, he was hoping to be back by the time the tour started for the chess.com.
yeah, maybe.
So I don't know how long ago he was considering this, and like it was reported that this is happening. This is another procedure though that can't be done in the United States.
No, it can't. You have to go overseas.
Right. So Aaron Rodgers is the most recent example of this. You know, he got hurt in the beginning of the season. He traveled to Germany to get stem cells put into his body. And now he's ready to come back. Like he's medically cleared to practice and compete, I believe. He was going to try to come back.
No way.
You know, in December before the end of the season. And he was going to try to play in the playoffs if the Jets made it that far.
Dang.
And so
he might get Green Bay's money back then.
right. But yeah, like there's pictures of him, you know, in a practice uniform. He's been throwing like everything
No
like on a
way.
ruptured Achilles. Yeah. Like wild.
Yeah. Jeez. And I know that, I mean, I don't know anything about Achilles, like personally. I know it can be a really agonizing process.
You can ask
to get
Jordan
back.
about it.
Yeah, Jordan. But he did like all natural. Like,
Yeah.
He didn't do
He didn't do anything.
any surgery or anything. No stem cells either, at least that I know of.
No.
Anyway. Unless he's like black market shooting himself.
Could you imagine that? You're like, I just bought this stuff off the street. Like, inject yourself.
This guy told me over there.
Yeah.
He was over behind the Quick Trip. I was like, yes. I think that's awesome. You know, and when I was looking it up, like, it's amazing. Some of the reports that people are having with like stem cells, just incredible. Like, it really makes me want to do it. But the amount of downtime was still basically the same as having a surgery. But I mean, if these guys but that's also me as this fat old guy. Like,
right. Like if you're a
prime
professional
athletes,
athlete, yeah.
I bet you their heal time is a lot less.
I could see that. Possibly.
Dang. Well,
yeah, it's crazy. I'm do a deep dive into it. Like, because like they're supposed to adapt to your body like really easily and everything.
yeah. Where do they get the stem cells from?
That's a good question.
Is that part of the Planned Parenthood thing? Is that too far? Was that too far?
Oh boy.
I probably lost a couple listeners there, huh? All right. Well,
Okay.
did that in the podcast for us? All right. But there is a real, like, I know that you can save, like, you can somehow remove your stem cells. Isn't there something like that? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a crazy process. I'm not sure about how you get them or they're produced. And then, yeah.
Well, maybe with the first suggestion, then I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope not. All right. I don't know if I have anything else.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else right now.
Do you want to do a random question?
Random question.
Yeah. You don't have to. I guess our random question was, where does stem cells come from?
That's pretty random.
It is.
No, favorite Christmas tradition?
Ooh, good choices. Favorite Christmas tradition. And is it just of our family or things that I've seen?
Oh, like you and your family like to do.
I have always enjoyed, so not only my in-laws, like that side of my wife's side of the family, but
Yeah.
our side of the family, we've always done like a white elephant or gag gift.
Yeah.
One of my favorite times. Because you get to see like people's personality. Because you always have the guy that's like, oh, I didn't buy anything, I'm going to wrap it with toilet paper. So there's always like the toilet paper that's in
Yeah.
the white elephant.
Yeah.
And then you have like the people that put like so much thought into it. And then you have the one people that don't quite understand what white elephant is. And
Yeah.
they buy like these really thoughtful gifts.
Yeah, you're right.
And you're like, that's really sweet, but like I want the one like where you open it up and it farts or something. You know,
Sure.
like that's a white elephant gift to
Yeah,
me.
exactly.
Or a gag gift, I guess. So, but I like that. That tradition is fun. And then then the stories that come behind some of the stuff that gets out. So, quick story. We had a pair of teeth.
Like dentures?
No, the two front teeth of my grandfather.
Okay.
They were lined with gold.
Oh,
now,
wow.
he's still alive. I want to
Okay.
point this out. They're not a dead man's teeth.
Okay.
But he had his two front teeth, but he had them like, I guess back in the day, they used to line them with gold. Mm-hmm. And like, when I say lined, like it was like a frame
Wow.
with the rest of whatever his teeth were left in them. So when he had them removed, they put them in like a jewelry box for him.
Yeah.
And somehow those got into the rotation of gag gifts. They came back for decades, like
Oh, wow.
year after year after year. And then the other thing that came back was this thing of macadamia nuts
Yeah.
that was years. And the beautiful thing about that, you know how you have those people in your family that you just, let's say they're a few watts short of a bright bulb.
Yeah.
Let's say that.
Okay.
So we have a couple in our family, and every family has it, you know. And if you don't know who that person is, it's you, just so you know. So every family has them. So these macadamia nuts have been going around for years. I mean, when I say like a decade, no joke, probably a decade.
Okay.
They've been floating around. Eat some.
Oh my God.
And everybody's like, you didn't die? And like, no,
Oh my God.
I thought they were awesome.
The amount of preservatives that like
I know. And
Yeah.
that's what makes you like,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, well, probably not great.
No.
Yeah, but these things had been floating around for years.
Oh my
years
God.
and years. So, and then my favorite thing that I ever contributed is my $1,800 golf ball. So I used to hit golf balls out into a field behind my house.
Yeah.
And a dog would go retrieve them.
Okay.
And I had to have one removed from his intestinal tract after he swallowed it
Yeah.
when we were playing.
Oh God. Oh
And it cost me roughly $1,800. So I put that in a baggie, blood and all. I don't think that one ever came back for a second round. But
Yeah,
I
okay.
like that one a lot because they're like, "Is that blood?" And I go, "Yep." And that's worth $1,800. That was one of my favorite ones.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, my family used to do that. We didn't do that this year. We didn't get together. When we got together, we didn't have like everybody together for our extended Christmas this past week. So we didn't get a chance to do the white elephant gifts. My sister likes to do games for the kids. So like this year they did like bingo and like all the kids got scratch off lottery tickets.
Nice. Did anybody win?
$2.
Oh, well, yeah.
It's like, here's your ticket, like scratch it off. Of course they can't, like turn it in or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like we always do Christmas gifts from the family on like Christmas Eve. So we will turn on like what movies like White Christmas. Like that's something like my wife likes to watch. So we always turn that on, like always the same movie, like do the same stuff. And then everybody goes to bed at the same time to get up for the next morning. But so this is funny. Speaking of the white elephant gifts, my dad for the past 2 years has gotten a white elephant gift that he doesn't like, so he like gives it away. Last year or the year before, he got a coloring book of cats pooping.
That is awesome. And
so-
he didn't like it?
No. So he opened it up, and I think they still have it. And like, my cousin got it, as a white elephant gift, and she got crayons or colored pencils and stuff in this thing. And I forgot what he got this that was like 2 years ago. So last year he got something like some kind of puzzle, and it was like almost one of the same things, like random dog like doing something or whatever. And He's like, oh my God, like, how do I end up with these gifts? I ended up with a mini like dustbuster. That is super loud.
Oh, garage door.
Oh,
I'm like, is the house falling down right now?
Holy cow.
It's going to go one more time
That
here in
was
just a second.
crazy. Yeah, I ended up with like a mini dustbuster, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And then I got a blanket another year that said like fa la la
Oh, okay.
for Christmas.
Very
There's been
nice.
some like, there's nothing like super personalized like anybody, you know, it's just random stuff. One of the funniest things that I've seen passed around is when I worked at the Sister Bay Bowl, I never went to the Christmas party because I had like, it's like Monday night, so I was like, hey, I'd rather play basketball or something. I had some stuff going on. But they have this toad that's very phallic.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And so that's the gag gift that got passed
keeps
around
getting-
for years and years. It's like this toad like dish or something. And so somebody
All right.
always ends up with it.
One of the best gifts you can give anybody ever, and this can be just a good gift too, is like, especially people that like puzzles. Buy them a puzzle. Just take one piece out.
Oh, yeah.
Just take one piece out. Now keep the piece. Like,
Yeah.
put it in a bag. Put it somewhere
Right.
you're going to remember where it is. But just take one piece out.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
It's awesome. My wife was in this period where she was building puzzles all the time, and it was during 2020. She was just building puzzles all
Yeah.
the time. So I finally got to a point where I would just like walk by the table and grab a piece and go hide the piece somewhere. And it was fantastic to watch her look for this thing. And I'd wait a couple days.
Yeah.
Like, and she'd be like, oh, I can't. I was like, you know, I think I saw it like in my sock drawer. She was so mad at me. It was awesome. All right, man. Well, there's an episode down, hour
Yeah.
and 11 minutes. So I think that's about enough, right?
That's pretty good.
Sounds good. Well, with that being said, any thought-provoking or inspirational messages that you have for us?
Merry Christmas if you celebrate it.
There you go.
That's about it.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Sleep with both eyes closed, because you never know if Santa, I mean, you may not get any gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still believe in Santa?
Sure.
Me too, 100%. And if you don't, shame on you. But with all that being said, in the words of JP, deuces in the toilet, peace out.
Hopefully you don't get them in your stocking.
Deuces?
Yeah.
No, that would be bad. That would
Your
be very bad.
colon stocking.
Colon.
Deuces in the stocking.
Can you imagine deuces in a stocking?
Oof.
Would you wring it out or just throw it away?
Throw it away.
You wouldn't even try to see if there's anything else in the stocking.
No.
I feel like I'd want to see what else was in the stocking. Because if someone took their time to cap that present off in that way, I feel like I'd have to see what was worth that. Because you know that's coming from like your brother or your sister, like your sibling that's like disappointed in what you got and they didn't get it.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, deuces in the stocking. Merry Christmas. Have a good night. We'll see you next time. I don't have a timeline with this one, but we'll be back on a regular basis. And by the way, I think this is officially 2 years. No, it would be our next episode, wouldn't it?
January 6th.
All right.
Yeah.
Coming up to it, 2 years, man.
Yep.
Can't believe that.
Yeah, right.
Good job. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And Merry Christmas.